I had a revelation today at the gym and I felt called upon to make this video because I was there, everything was going great, and things just kind of clicked for me today. Now, I've experimented with different splits before at the gym. I've done full calisthenics, I've done push pull legs, I've done upper lower. I've tried all of these different ways of working out. But the most important thing, and what I really realized today, what is generally the most important thing for building muscle is training with intensity, getting close to failure and getting to a rep range with a stack of weights that are really going to push you to your limits. And I was looking around in the gym and man, I didn't see a single person there today that was actually going with intensity. I think back to when I started lifting, I had no idea what I was doing. I was the skinniest person. I was 125 pounds coming into college. I had never lifted a weight in my entire life. My arms were like twigs. I'm telling you, I had grown up wrestling. Wrestling was my identity. Wrestling was my sport. It was all I did. I tied every single piece of myself to wrestling. I walked around in wrestling shirts. I went to wrestling practice as my hobby. I didn't do much outside of that other than play video games. So I go to college and I'm on the wrestling team. All these guys were massive. Like my teammates, they were really good at lifting weights. They had done a lot of weight training in high school. I had not. I did a little bit of stuff with dumbbells. I like doing pull-ups and push-ups, and that was about it. And I'm going into this college weight room with all of these massive football players, lacrosse players, basketball players. I felt so intimidated. I felt like I had no idea what I was actually doing. And by having good teammates that pushed me, having a good coach to show me the technique, I was able to get lifting down. And what I did is I started out doing calisthenics. So I started out just spamming push-ups and pull-ups because that is what I knew. Again, I was scared to really start lifting weights, to be intense with that. So I figured, hey, why not start with what I know and what I've been doing my entire life, which is just bodyweight stuff. Because even at a young age, man, I was really good at bodyweight stuff. I used to have a pull-up bar at my door, and my dad used to record me. I think I got close to doing 20 pull-ups once when I was little. I was always really strong there. So spamming push-ups and pull-ups really helped me build a foundation in college. I was able to get stronger over time. I was able to finally have a little bit of muscle and walk around with a little bit more confidence. From there, it transitioned into weightlifting. I started to get more comfortable by doing calisthenics. The push-ups, the pull-ups, it translated right into the weight room. I started lifting weights. I started to see results. But what I didn't realize at the beginning was that if you're just training to go through the motions, nothing is really going to happen. You're going to have those beginner gains. But after that, it kind of fades away and your progress gets slower and slower and slower. And what really matters when you're lifting weights is training with intensity, having an actual fire when you're going into your workouts, and really having a goal to push weight. And now as a coach, talking to clients, seeing people at the gym, just thinking about what I'm doing myself, it's like I'm realizing how many people actually have no idea how to lift. How many people genuinely go to the gym every single day, week after week after week, without moving their weights, without seeing any results. The number is a staggering amount. We have so many people that just go to the gym out of routine, lifting weights out of routine, but they have no idea what they're actually doing. They're not tracking their weights. They're not getting stronger. And because of that, they're having zero results. Now, I'm not saying this is a bad thing to just go to the gym, just to go to the gym, but come on. We are just wasting our time doing this. Imagine putting so much time into something and only giving half the effort you actually could. No successful person ever does that. You don't talk to a CEO of a company and say they were just going through the motions. You don't talk to an Olympic level athlete. They're not going to tell you they were just going through the motions to get there. Going above and beyond, giving your full effort, that is really what is going to take you to the top. And I saw that in wrestling too. I think there were times I was working really hard, but I genuinely believe I had never gave wrestling 100% of my focus. I never was the guy who was doing every single thing right. I would miss the double workouts, or my nutrition wouldn't be on point, or I had an injury. All these things I felt holding me back. And that was really limiting my potential in wrestling. And one thing coming into weightlifting, coming into being a coach, that I realized is if you are not being intense, if you are not trying to do every single thing right, then what are you actually doing? And being in the gym today, I truly had this moment of just like, I am going to push as hard as I possibly can with these workouts. I know what I'm doing. I'm doing an upper lower split right now. I know that's a solid split. I don't even care what the split is. I'm going to pick 6 movements today, and I'm going to go as physically hard as I could. And that is what I did. And man, the feeling I got after that, the clarity I got of just leaving that workout and knowing I put every single thing on the line. I had nothing left by the end of it. I truly know that I pushed as hard as I could have today in that workout. And the clarity that gives me is awesome because I know I did everything I could, but I also know the results it's going to give me to my muscle growth, because I know that just going to the gym and doing what I've been doing for the last couple of years is not going to cut it anymore. I've been lifting for 3 years now. I feel like I've got a lot of the gains that I would have already had just by being in the gym and having the routine. So if I'm not taking it to the next level, if I'm not really pushing myself, I'm going to fall behind. It's the same feeling I had with the wrestling, where it's like I came in freshman year, I was very good. I was a starter. I was having results. I was doing well. But then sophomore year, I had an even better season, but nutrition was holding me back. Had a bad end of the year. Then I had my first surgery. Next year, come back, hurt my shoulder, have a second surgery. I had all these setbacks, and by the end of my senior year, I felt like I was really just going through the motions. I wasn't going to practice every single day to get better. I was going to practice and just thinking, hey, this is my last year. Like, let's just stay healthy. Let's wrestle. I didn't even wrestle my first semester senior year because I was still injured. And a lot of that was like, yeah, my shoulder, I didn't fully tear my labrum that third time, but I already had surgery on the shoulder. I was very, very mentally just aware of like, hey, I need to be very, very precautious here because I can't do a third surgery. That would be the end of my career for good. And so I was always kind of holding back a little bit in wrestling. And I came out of the gate doing super good, but by the end of my career, I knew I didn't live up to my potential. That's exactly what I don't want for just bodybuilding, for weight training. I'm not a bodybuilder, but it's just like achieving the highest potential physique that you possibly can. That's the last thing I want. And I realized that just by going through the motions, just by lifting just to lift without having a true purpose, without having a true intention, is not going to get me where I want to go. And that's the biggest thing, is like I'm looking around, I'm talking to people, I'm having all these conversations with people that are just very content doing what they're doing. And they know they're not where they want to be. They know they're not having the results that they want. But still, they're just going because it's part of their routine. And they're not pushing themselves. They're not challenging themselves. If you are not at the gym and struggling on that last rep, you are doing something wrong. If you are not getting stronger week after week after week, you're doing something wrong. The way I look at weightlifting right now is like, man, this is a sport in itself. I'm doing weighted pull-ups, and I kid you not, in my mind, I'm doing stance in motion. I'm walking, I'm warming up, back and forth, pacing around the gym, warming up for my weighted pull-ups like it is a wrestling match. That's the level of intensity that you have to bring to these kind of things. Because if you really want to get stronger, you can't just roll into the gym and be like, oh, okay, I'm going to do push-ups right now. We're going to see how it goes. I'm going to do a couple. Like, no, I'm strapping on 70, 80, 85 pounds, and I'm really giving it every single thing I have. I'm thinking about it like it's a wrestling match. I was like, how intense can I be here? And I'm trying to translate that energy to every single lift, because I know that is what is going to get me the results that I want, the results that I need. And if I'm just going to the gym and just going through the motions, what am I even doing? I could probably maintain this physique just by doing push-ups and pull-ups every single day, or just a couple times a week. If I'm not going to the gym and actively trying to get better, if I'm just trying to, all right, maintain, hey, we can just stay at these weights, like, what is the point of that? That's not what I'm here for. Again, no great successful person has gotten where they are by just going through the motions. And you see it so often with people in the gym, just not caring, showing up. Man, you look the same as you did 3 years ago. All that time you spent at the gym, it's like, you could have been doing anything else. You could have been building a business. You could have been spending that time with your family, because I'm sorry, it didn't get you any results. Like, if your goal is to actually get leaner, if your goal is to put on muscle, you failed because you're not training with intensity. You're not doing the right things. And that mindset, that translates to every single aspect of life. It's just like not giving it everything that you have, holding back mentally, going through the motions. Like, if you're doing that at your job, you're doing that with your nutrition, do that with your recovery, all these things, they add up. And that is going to have such a big impact on you mentally, because deep down, you could tell yourself that you don't know, but if you are not giving it 100% effort, you're lying to yourself. You know that it's not possible to be the highest version of yourself without giving it 100% effort. And you can tell yourself whatever you want, but deep down, hey, I cheated on my diet. Hey, I was on reels till 1 a.m. and I got horrible quality sleep. That's going to impact your lifts, even if you don't think it will, subconsciously, because it's like, hey, if I'm not doing the right things in this realm of life, why would I be doing it in the other? The successful people, they do a really good job of just like being extreme, but also just being consistent and being disciplined. And if you know deep down that you're failing in one aspect, you are not the best version of yourself. When I am lifting with the best intensity, when I'm so dialed in the gym, my business is doing better. I'm posting more content. I have more energy. When I'm lifting at the gym and I'm being super active and I'm getting tons of steps, I'm more productive when I go to the office because I know it's like, hey, I woke up early today. I hydrated. I got a walk in. I'm at the office now. Like, let's kill it. When I used to lift in the morning before I would go to the office, that first hour I was at the office, man, I was just cranking stuff out. I was just getting stuff done. Because again, my day was already off to a great start. But when I roll out of bed at 8 o'clock and I quickly shower and I quickly rush to the office to get there by 9, those are not the days when I have the best results. Because I know, hey, I am not being the best version of myself by staying up late, watching Netflix, doing whatever, and then waking up at 8 o'clock and just going to the office and making it the start of my day. Like, I genuinely, you can lie to yourself as much as you want. You can tell yourself, yeah, I can get away with it for now, I'm young. But that stuff is going to add up. It's going to catch up to you. And deep down, you know you are not being the best version of yourself. That's why I love personal development so much, because I had all these feelings. My junior year, I just knew that I was missing something. I knew, hey, I'm injured for wrestling right now. This is the perfect opportunity to just focus on other aspects of my life, really level up, become the best version of myself, physically, mentally, academically. In every single way, I wanted to become the best version of myself. And so I started waking up early, and I told myself, hey, I read Atomic Habits, and I'm like, hey, I'm going to start waking up at, I think it was 6 a.m. at the time, and watch the sunrise every single day. And I did that for a long period of time. I'd wake up super early, I'd watch the sunrise, I'd read, and when I started my day off like that, it was impossible to fail. And I made it so that in my free time, I was reading. And I was like, I used to skip class all the time my sophomore year to watch Netflix just because I was tired from cutting weight, or all these little excuses that I would just tell myself, hey, I don't have to go. You can skip a lecture even if it's optional, but that's going to come back to bite you when you go to the exams, or that's going to come back to bite you when there's an essay you got to write. So obviously you should be going to class. When I transform my mentality, it's like, hey, if I'm skipping class right now, what would I be doing instead? Like reading a book? I'm not going to skip class to read a book, because that's how I program my mind. It was like I was being so productive in every single area of my life that it was like I wanted to go to class. I wanted to get my homework done right away. I wanted to stop procrastinating, doing all these things that I knew were holding me back before. And that's why doing the little things right is so important. That's why you can't just be going through the motions. You need to be striving to be great in every single part of your life. Work, personal stuff, the gym. I started off by talking about the gym, by training with intensity, because it made me think about all these other things where people are just going through the motions. They're not doing everything they can, and it's limiting them so much. And they are going to be stuck in the same position. Despite all the time that they put in, despite them thinking they're putting in effort, they're going to be stuck in the same damn position because they're not doing it right, and they know they are not giving it their all.